I identify as Muslim, so I'm going to call it prayer. You identify as XYZ, so you're going to call it XYZ. My only issue with that is the separation it could possibly create.
Welcome to Talking Up, a different approach to finding a higher power.
I'm Muslim. I grew up Muslim, and within that religion, there's a lot of like rituals that make you a Muslim, right? So like you pray 5 times a day, you're fasting during Ramadan, you go do the pilgrimage, but we're never really like taught why. The why is there, but we're not really like ever taught the why. So for me, spirituality is kind of like I taught myself the why, and then things started to click. So my religion that I practice is Islam. I am Muslim. I was born and raised, and I still am, alhamdulillah. And I am a DJ. So my favorite genres to mix are like deep house, ambient, a little bit of synthwave, some tropical, and for the crowd, some hip hop. So for me, spirituality relates to music in a sense of when I'm playing and when people are listening, there is some type of connection there. So spirituality is the best way to describe it, like the frequencies from the music and the dancing and all of that kind of ties in together. And yeah, so like EDM festivals to me are like a spiritual experience.
I think God's still the stigma, at least from my perspective, and people using other variations to express the same idea. So semantics play into.
Sure.
It's like when you say God, it's like, oh, you're very archaic, versus saying I'm spiritual or I believe in a higher power. Or I'm the universe. No, the universe is great language now, right? Mm-hmm. So I think associating meaning God versus making it something else outside a person takes away the stigma.
I feel like a lot of, especially the newer, younger generations, are moving away from organized religions, and they're finding like different elements that work for them, and they're calling it different things, like the universe, for example, or like mindfulness, or like manifestation, and like types of witchcraft even. But to me, it's like, okay, like manifestation, for example, to me, it's like, that's kind of equivalent to like what religions practice as prayer, or mindfulness as well is like maybe like prayer, like higher power is like, okay, God. So I feel like they think they're reinventing the wheel, but it's like they're interchangeable terms, which is fine, because it's like, if that works for you, then that works for you,
I grew up very Christian, with like a lot of like conservatism and like rules, and like specifically like African conservatism, which is like far more conservative than like Western. Growing up in the church, I realized that everyone that went to the church was very like dark, and so I kind of was pushed away from the church. Now for me, my spirituality is not related to religion per se, but I respect all religion and I believe in religion. But for me, spirituality is just the belief of something higher. My spiritual journey has been a very intense one, but also a very magical one. I ran away when I was about 17 to pursue music because my family was very against that. And I feel like all of my crazy traumatic experiences have brought me like a lot of wisdom and maturity in which I'm able to give and help and heal through music. Currently, the music I make is lo-fi, dream pop, psychedelic, Afro, hip hop, and I don't have any traditional music theory training. Everything I create comes from like just my ears and my soul, and also my spirituality.
So you're saying there's a lot of darkness in churches. Just a question for everyone, like, do you guys think that it's like the religion that's the darkness, or is it like the people, the humans are like flawed beings? So there's like, between the two, there's like I guess communication, like it gets lost in the sauce sometimes.
Lost.
I don't know.
For me, I think the reason I think darkness is in places of worship is because those that want forgiveness are the ones that are pulled towards needing consistent like worship. And I think that's a misconception where you would think like, oh, I'm walking into a church, everyone's like healed, everyone's all like spiritual, but oftentimes it's a lot of damaged people that are in the process of healing themselves.
Yeah, it's like when you're talking, I thought about like, just like a bunch of muddy people and everybody's dirty and they're going to get clean. And then when they're being clean, there's those that are in the washroom being like, oh, this place is dirty, I can't be here. So my music is primarily like lo-fi hip hop or some trap music or some house or bass house or what they call G house. Growing up, I kind of had a bit of a rough upbringing. My parents weren't quite there. And I think, yes, I did get in some trouble, but I also was constantly searching for this deeper meaning to life. And now that I'm 35 years old, it's taken me a bit of time to come to a deeper understanding of who I am as a spiritual being. And it's led me into fields like photography or painting and graphic design and all these different avenues. These are all just expressions of me as a spiritual being living this human experience.
To me, to live in a world where everyone's different is just understanding at the end of the day, like connectedness in addition to love, like connectedness is what will bring love. So, I'm different than you, you're different than me, and that's where music comes in. It's this unbiased thing, like music, like film, art, these types of things, even though we're different, it keeps us connected because we can relate to these types of things,
I think for me, my music and spirituality, I think the intersection has always been the dance between words and melody and how those two come together in a very spiritual way. And I've literally experienced magic when those two happen. I was 17 years old in India when I got a call of God on my life to be a missionary to America. Music has been a huge part of my life. In fact, when I was 18 years old, I started playing music literally to connect with God. I'm mostly a singer-songwriter, so I spend a lot of time on my guitars and my piano and keyboards. I'm tired, God, now do the rest. World sounds, I think I'm very intrigued in bringing different sounds together.
What I've discovered in my writing process is it's parts of me that I was too afraid to express, because to me, it's being vulnerable, not only with myself, but with the world. We're all trying to figure this out. So we might as well just put it on the table. Guess what? This is what I went through. This is what I went through. Oh, shoot. Yeah, me too. You know what? And we can pull and pick and we can commune together on our brokenness. And if I can do that through sonic waves, which is literally the spearhead to the human soul, music. Let's do it.
Because at the end of the day, music, what is it? It's like frequencies and vibrations, and it affects the human body, right? And the way we think and the way we see the world, and that's why that's what makes music spiritual.
Of that spiritual side, I don't know of a better medium, of a more powerful medium that can penetrate through a cold heart as opposed to music. I mean, words can be there, but music, I think, could pierce that kind of a space, and I've watched it happen.
So for me, my spirituality with music is far more, I guess, planned. I'm very meticulous with how I create sounds, and even lyrics. I won't just make lyrics. They'll have to have a purpose, and the purpose is always to inspire joy, inspire connection, show people that there's hope in darkness, show people that through all the pain, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And I make sure to always make that the theme, essentially.
Yeah, that is very beautiful. And just the fact that you communicate with God or your God through intuition, I just think that's so, intuition is just such a magical thing. When you have a gut feeling, you can't explain it to anyone. And only you know where it came from. And the fact that you can express that through music, Like that's just beautiful. Like that is to me spirituality in a nutshell.
Have you ever been punched in the face? It's like, how do you explain God, right? How do you explain infinity?
The biggest thing for me that I can recognize it is once the ego is taken away, I think that's how you know, because I think a lot of people, when they make art, and when your ego is there and you think, I made this song, I made this piece of art, you let go of God and you make it all about you. And if you can let go of your ego and realize, like, this came through me.
Yeah, being a channel is essentially what we are.
Brilliant, by the way. Like, I think that's the stroke of art. Like, for all of this, I'll take that, because that's, if you can mitigate the ego.
When you like have those moments, it's, for lack of better words, would you think it's like surrendering? Like you surrender and you just like let it all come in? So that's what I think the word is. Like, how do you connect to a higher power? It's just you surrender and like let it
That's a
happen.
great word.
Definitely, yeah.
That's a great word. Yeah, I think some of the best thinkers of our time, whether it's Carl Jung or even Jordan Peterson, or these people have figured out that the pursuit of life shouldn't be happiness but meaning. How do you pursue meaning and not happiness? And you pursue meaning through gateways of love and suffering, and that's the hope. So I think everyone needs more people who've been through the rings of fire so that they can stand for someone else. Because I think that's what he's telling me in 3 years. I'm teaching you these going through the rings of fire because this is your call to be there for other people. So
For me, finding hope is simply a choice, because it's very, very difficult to do good and be good after something truly dark and awful happens to you. And I think when you can choose to do good after something so awful happens to you, that is the purest love. And when you choose to do that, it also creates hope, because you are the hope. Right. You're the example that through all the darkness there could still be light.
So you spoke to me right now. I think that's partly also the answer. In that is, I think that's the hope for humanity, what she just said.
I was thinking recently, like, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make him drink.
Right.
But what we can do is show them what quenched thirst looks like, right? If humankind is thirsty for meaning, and you found
What do you
meaning.
mean by showing? Like, how do you show?
When I was in my early 20s, I worked at Starbucks, and I hated it. And I was driving home, and I remember praying, God, I want to enjoy being here. Like, I'm like, but I hate this place. And I look, and there's this dude getting out of his car, and he's dressed in McDonald's uniform. He locks his car, and he walks in, and he's going into work. And he just gets out of his car. I'm at the stoplight, and I watch him, and he walks into McDonald's, he opens the door, and he's just like, ready to go work at McDonald's. And that guy will never know that he changed my life, because the very next day when I showed up at Starbucks,
Right.
I showed up just like him.
Wow.
And I was like, yes. I get out of my car, happy. And my energy changed in the way that I showed up. And I opened the door, and it was like, hell yeah, this ain't McDonald's, this is Starbucks. Like, I'm like, a tear up, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is that dude was walking in power, some kind of power that he'll never know he changed somebody's life, right? And if that's what we can do, it's not about going out and telling everybody how to live their life. It's you live your truth, and if that is the truth, you damn well know it's gonna affect other people.
If you'd like to be on an episode of Talking Up, email us at hello@thespiritualityproject.org.